It is I, the old humble guy. We're here in my shop. I got some work to do. Happy Friday, Tater Dom. Welcome to the party, Ibrahim. Okay, so I've gotten in the tasting room on the other side of this wall right here behind me. Actually, we're going to do a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
Yep, that's right. I am our sponsor, the Old Humble Distilling Company. Me, myself, I am the sponsor of this show. I'm going to move this camera real quick because I've got a slide behind it to plug my phone in so that I can monitor the stream on my phone while we do this. On? Yeah, good. Okay. So what are we doing? Why do I have the camera over here on this barrel? Great question. Happy to answer it. So I am setting up. I'll be setting up outside for our grand opening event. I'll be setting up over here a tent, and in that tent will be a cigar lounge, a cigarden, if you will. I like that. And in this cigarden will be a table, and I need to build this table. So I've already stained the tabletop, as you can see. I've stained it a American oak barrel, aged American oak barrel. It is similar in color, but not the same. But I bet if I pulled out one of the old aged barrels, it would look much more similar. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll put this on one of these barrels. Ugh. Actually, these barrels look nice. The proper color to go with that. How's that look? A little bit better? More of the same? Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so this barrel will be used elsewhere. That barrel will be the tabletop barrel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I have to secure this barrel, this tabletop to the barrel. Secure the tabletop to the barrel, and I'm going to shellac it so that it has a nice shiny sheen to it, and it will be safe from the weather. And I've got 3 things that I need to do. So I need to measure where the center point of the tabletop is. Drill pilot holes into the tabletop with a pocket bit, so that the countersink bit, rather, so that the screws will be countersunk into the tabletop. Screw it in, fill in the screw holes with wood filler, restain it, and then shellac it. So, yeah, it's not going to be that. It's not a huge project. This is an easy, like end of the project type of project that I need to do. Because I've already built like the whole tasting room. I've done the hard damn work. It's time to do some easy stuff. And later tonight, I'll probably bottle up some whiskey. That may actually be tomorrow morning's work that I bothered to do. Because I'm coming to the end of the line of work that can get done before the event even starts. And I want to be able to have at least, I don't know, if we have 100 people here over the course of the event, I want to make sure that we have enough whiskey for everybody to buy a bottle. I know we have enough of the special edition bottles to get out the door for everybody to buy 1 or 2 bottles. And I expect we're going to sell out of them, which is why I haven't done my giveaway yet. Because if we got, people, if we got people buying them, they get precedence over people getting them for free. Sorry, guys. But if we have leftovers, I will certainly give them away to the people who have supported the shows this last couple of months. All right. Let's mark up a tabletop here. So I've got to find the center point. I'm not sure which side I want to use as the top. I think I want to use this side as the top. So the way you find a center point of a sphere, kids, is you need 3 lines of a circle, rather, is you need 3 lines. And those 3 lines are going to give you a triangle. What do I do with the pencil? There it is. There's 1. 2. Oh, in this case, it doesn't give me a triangle. It gives me a spot perfectly right in the dead center of the... So there's my center point. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set 4 holes, 4 spots with the holes. It doesn't have to be perfectly set up. I just need them to be anchored in, and I want them to be anchored in 4 spots. So I'm going to set a hole here, a hole here, a hole here, and a hole here. And that's roughly a rectangle spacing. That's roughly fine. Now, I also need to make sure that this is centered on here. So I am going to go in. Let's see, I've got to measure the width of this. I've got to measure the width of that tabletop. Zip. Versus the width of the barrel. And I think I have 3 inches of play on, on either side. 3 inches. And that is 21 3/4 inches. Okay, so 21 3/4 minus 30 is 8 3/4. So give me 4 inches on either side. Give me about a 4-inch lip and I'm good. So come in about 4 inches. If I mark 4 inches in, then I should be able to reasonably place this tabletop where it belongs. You know, I got a better plan, actually. What did I say that was? 21 3/4? Let's call it 22. Yeah, let's call it 22 inches. So I'm going to get 11-inch string. 11 inches of... Where will I find 11 inches of string in my shop? I'm sure I've got 11 inches of string in here somewhere. 11 inches of string, 11 inches of wire, 11 inches of... Aha! I do. Right here. Da, 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 da. It is 11 inches of paracord, which I know I have because I saw it just the other day when looking for something else. It's in here. There it is. Aha! And it's more than 11 inches, but that's fine. All right. So what I'm going to do, Ed's here. Cheers, Ed. Sell over giving away. Yes, I am a right-wing capitalist. That's it. I mean, I would love to give away the bottles, and the idea of giving them away was part of my marketing strategy. But I'm down to like less than 100, so I don't know if I can. You know. All right, I got an 11-inch loop, roughly. God damn it! What did I do with my? There it is. All right, go 11 inches. Make this loop 11 inches. Ba 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 ba. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Almost there. There. That's 11 inches right there. Now, I'll get my handy dandy screw right here. And I'm just going to draw a circle using my 11-inch loop. Now, mind you, literally everything that I've done as far as construction in the distillery has been done without really knowing how to do any of this stuff, which I want to say means that if I can do it, like seriously, you can too. I'm not coming at this as a professional carpenter or woodsmith or whatever the hell those people call themselves. I'm just a dude who... Oh, shit. I just fucked up my loop. I'm just a dude, you know? There's a problem. It needs to be solved. If there's a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Vanilla. Here come the copyright strikes. That song by itself was a copyright strike. Paul McCartney and Queen, Under Pressure. Do 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 do. Doom, 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 which by itself was a fantastic song. Even before Vanilla Ice sampled it without permission. But also, that song had not been heard for close to a decade. All right, so that's roughly a circle. Roughly. So now I should be able to take that out. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to glue it. I'm going to glue this to the barrel. So if I put this, that is roughly, yeah, that's roughly centered. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be outside. So I'm not like super duper worried about this. This is not one of those things where it has to be perfect. Ow, shit. This is one of those things where it just has to be good enough. And now these pocket holes I will be putting in here. I'm just going to drill on this side, then put the pocket hole on the other side. And what this is going to let me do is have the screw flush to the surface of the barrel. They're not pocket holes. They're countersunk. They're countersunk screws. Pocket holes are for something else entirely. Okay. So now I'll flip it to this side. And now I've got my hole started. So just go in. and that will countersink the screw so that it will be flush to the surface. Yeah, and then I can cover it with wood filler. I cover it with wood filler, and then we have a nice, smooth countertop, tabletop. And this is not something that I've done with other things. See? See what I mean? The countersinking in there. Yeah. And I've not done this treatment for other tops, countertops, tabletops. I haven't done this treatment on other tabletops. So now I've got a specialized adhesive that I'm going to work with for this one. Heavy duty construction adhesive for this particular. I don't want to just use plain old wood glue because it's going to be outside. Most of the time it's going to be outside, but also, you know, I want it to be sturdy on its own rights. So, enter the construction adhesive. All right, put a nice thick bead around the top here. Whoops. There, look at there. All right, put a nice thick bead around the top here. And this had always been kind of the vision for for the use of my barrels. I had a guy come and steal a fucking barrel the other day. Pallets and barrels both. Fucking degenerates in this town. All right. So a nice thick adhesive bead across the top there. That is true, Ed. You can learn just about anything you need to do from YouTube. Sometimes you can learn it correctly. Sometimes you just learn how to do it right enough. All right. And now it's in there. Excuse me. Now, I need my long screws. Do I need the long ones or the next to long ones? I think the next to long ones will do the trick. 3, 4. But I'll get the long ones just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have checked this beforehand. But it appears that these will be just fine. Da 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 dee da 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 dee ba da 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 dee da 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 da. All right, perfect. It bites in just as it needs to and secures it down. That did not. Uh-oh. All right, that one didn't bite. Okay, we'll just go with the longer ones. Not sure how to get this one out. Oh, yeah, I do. I know how to get it out. That's what screwdrivers are for, but not the way you're thinking I might be thinking. It goes under here. There we go. All right. In. And see, these are nice and flush. Yeah, that's not sunk enough. I thought it bit, but it did not bite enough. And granted, the adhesive is probably going to hold that in nice and tight. There's a gap under here. There's a gap underneath this, a little space. So, you know, I just want to make sure it holds in there tight. Now, wood filler. I don't know if any of this wood filler is any good that I have right here, but I do have some. I have this one over here. All right, see, I've got just about everything that I need in my shop because I've used this stuff. I just need to find what it is that I'm trying to use. Like right now, I need to find a scraper, which can be another piece of wood. This will work. A shim. This will work just fine. All right. So there's a little concavity here, but that's fine because the shellac's going to kind of pool in the middle. That's good. Besides, I want stuff to kind of pool in here. If you spill something, I don't want it to. Do I? Ew. Huh. This is old, so it's kind of gross. All right, let's see if I can make this happen. All right, now we take this, fill the hole, and there we go. All right. My son is going to prom this weekend, and every possible thing that could go wrong. His girlfriend is from another school. You don't know her. She's from Canada. His friends are giving him shit about her, which is funny as hell because they're seeing pictures of her for the first time, all dolled up for prom. Not gonna lie, he's got a cute looking little girlfriend. He's chosen well. She seems to have a pretty good head on her shoulders. He likes her enough, so you know. But like, you know, they're going with a couple of friends to prom. They're going to go to dinner and do some stuff, and then suddenly one of her friends says, "I'm going to do a limo." Her parents give them a limo, and the girlfriend's like, "I'm not sure about a limo, man. I've never done anything like this before." She gets a little anxious about it. So we'll have a talk with her tonight, see if she cools out with it. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just be chauffeured with a parent. That'll be fine. But that was the first thing that kind of went wrong. The next thing that's gone wrong is the school has said that you need to have your ID to pick up your prom tickets. If you don't have an ID, you're not going to be allowed entry if your ID doesn't match your prom ticket. And I'm like, that's a stupid thing, because I mean, how many kids get a date and then change their date before prom? You're going to force us to like go with some chick we don't like? That's not fair. They'll fix that. You don't have to worry about it. But he was panicking about that. He panics about everything. He's kind of funny. He was panicking the other day about the former guy's stupid Project 2025. Like, it's horrible, it's awful, but you don't have to panic because we have a whole system to prevent that shit from happening. It's called voting. We just need to vote. I should do a show on Project 2025 and how dumb it is. All right, so I'm going to let that dry for a minute, then I'm going to sand it off. I'm just going to do a rough sand. I'm not going to do it smooth or anything like that. I don't need to. And then we'll shellac it, and I'll have a night, or I'm going to refinish it with the stain that I've got, and then we'll shellac it, and it'll have a nice, shiny bobini finish. Yeah, I said bobini. You heard me. And the question you have to ask yourself is, why aren't you saying bobini? Because that's just dope as hell. You're basic. That's a devastating insult. You are devastated. You know what? I'll use this. Cardboard for the win. Okay. So I'm going to roll this onto the, or move it up, cardboard under it, so that the shellac can kind of go off the edges. All right. Now we're ready for the next steps, I think. All right, sand this down. All right. It's okay. Almost like it belongs there. Not beautiful. Not terrible. Looks pretty solid. All right. Looking good. Looking satisfying, at least. Now, for the next thing. And that will be the finish. Just a little dab of finish will do me. I'm not even going to put gloves on both hands. I'm just going to put gloves on the one hand because I only need to use the one hand because the next thing is going to be the shellac. And I will be putting gloves on both hands for the shellac. All right. A couple things I learned during the pandemic was how to put on some plastic gloves. Don't ask me how I did it, because I did it on camera. It's obvious. Ew! Give it a nice little coat here. I don't want to coat it too much. I'm going to wipe off most of this. Because I like this gray finish that it has. It looks nice. you get this gray finish by wiping it down so that it's not too heavy. So, a little bit of that. But also helps to even it out when you wipe it down. Takes the excess off, smooths it out, evens it out, lets that grain come back out and pop. Nice. Very nice. I'm very happy with this. I've been thinking about this particular project for a couple of weeks. Wait till y'all see the lighting. I put the lighting up around the bar. I think I might do a portion of the show tomorrow night as a members only live stream. So if you're not a member, you won't see what we're doing at the Firefly Lounge. The memberships are only $2 a month. You can do more, but honestly, $2 a month is enough. It helps support the channel. It helps me get new equipment. It gets you extra entries into giveaways. And I think the next cast strength we do will be a larger batch because it seems to be quite the popular. It seems to be quite popular. I may not do it a full 120, well, whatever the cast strength is. My bourbon comes out of the cask a little bit lower strength, about 115, because I put it in the cask a little bit lower. This rye comes out of the barrel a little bit higher. All right. This looks like shit, but it's fine. It'll stabilize nicely as it dries. I'm going to let it dry for a little bit. I'm going to let it dry for just a little bit. Yeah, see, the grains are already popping out. Look at that. The grains are already coming out. Can you see that? Yeah, y'all can see that. Who's here? Mr. Jig, speaking of membership. Shabby to chic with Old Humble. Hey, that's right, my man. Could you time me out for 60 seconds if you're still here? Just curious if I get some sort of error notification. I think I might be able to do that to you. Can I time you out? I'm not going to worry about it. Let me flip over to the other side. Tater Dom. Yeah, this is going to be a short stream. I think I'm going to be done with this in about an hour. Put in timeout. There you go. You're in timeout now, Dom, for 60 seconds. Confirm. There you go, my man. Ask and ye shall receive. You are in timeout. So all I'm going to do is put shellac on this. Shellac is a natural sealant. A natural sealant made from the shells of some stupid insect that's dumb enough to make their shells into something useful for people. I don't know. Like a June bug or something, you know? Well, it'd be the carapace, I guess. We dry? Yeah, we're dry. All right. Tater Dom was timed out. All right. So now it's time. We're dry enough. The shellac can go on. I'm going to wipe it down one more time to make sure it's clean and dry. I should have done a better job sanding. It's not quite dry yet. But we're getting there. We are getting there. Do one more run. I was thinking about putting my barrel insignia on here in gold. What do y'all think, chat? Should I put something in here in gold? The thing that I have on the ends of my barrels? If I had just the logo, I'd do the logo, but I don't have a template for just my logo. Still a little bit. Those grains are popping out, though. I love it. The secure holes are a little bit amateurishly done. I can see them. I don't like it, but I'm tolerant of it. Can you see it? You can't see it, but I can. Most of the black, gray, the dark colors stay in the grain, yeah. Oh, if I sand it more? Well, I could do that. All right, let's try it. Let me try it. Let me go get my sander. I don't want to sand it too much because I don't want to take the surface off. But I also would like it to be even. You know what I mean? Steve McQueen. Let's see here. I need extension cord. Don't ask me how I did it. I just did it. It was hard. How about that dude? He's out here grinding, making music, doing what he does. He hits a thing on freaking TikTok and YouTube and blows the F up. Just absolutely blows his shit up. And now he's been touring, but now he's like touring to packed houses. That is, my buddy Slade talks about this in his show, but you know, that's the new model of fame for stand-ups and singers and songwriters and stuff like that. You get a clip. I mean, hell, Beyonce did it. She had her new song, and it was she drops it on the Super Bowl, and by the time they hand the Lombardi trophy out, she's already got a fucking dance on TikTok. All right. All right, you are correct, sir. Look at that. Y'all see that? That is beautiful. Look at that. There's a few dark patches here. Mostly around the outside where there's the dark stuff. Homeboy. Homeboy. That is. All right, you're right. That was nice. That is nice. That's a nice touch. It's a very nice touch. I'm going to do a little bit. Return a little bit of this to there. Just a little dab. And I'm not trying to thicken that finish. I'm just trying to smooth it out a little bit. And we sanded the surface down, so I want to give it a fresh coat, let it penetrate in, wipe it down. Then sand it down one more time, because that worked nicely. And there's some really thin patches that I wanted to clean up. But this is a very thin coat that I'm putting back on here, so. All right. All right. Back to life. Back to reality. Back to life. Back to reality. All right. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, Jigs, you were correct. Everything you said was right. This is beautiful. I love it. Thank you for telling me to do that. I'm glad I did it. I am happy. Super duper happy. Happy as a girl in the schools. Happy as can be. Look at me. I am a happy little girl. Oh, is it coming through? Can y'all see? Yeah, y'all can't really see what I see. It's all right, though. I can see it, and I'm happy. I see what I see. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. All right. That there. All right. So what's a good topic to talk about today? What are we going to talk about? What else do we want to talk about? Have y'all been following the court cases? Holy shit, are you kidding me? Bye, Jigs. Cheers, my man. Have y'all been following the court hearings? Both the Supreme Court deal with the immunity. It looks like the best analysis that I've seen so far is that they're either going to throw out the immunity claim entirely or kick it back to the lower court to separate out official duties and non-official duties that he is requesting immunity for and from, which is dumb as hell. Because that's not the question before the court. All right, this is a fresh thing of shellac. Okay, cool. So when I did my tables, when I did my rectangular tables, those guys, I did my rectangular tables. I just like poured the shellac out and rolled it out with a roller. But I don't want to do that this time. I'm just gonna paint it on with the sponge here because I want to have a nice even coat going across. We're gonna drip off the sides, and that's fine. And maybe I will pour this out and smooth. In fact, I am. I'm gonna pour it out and smooth it out. Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. It's almost like It's giving me kind of a brownish. Thought this was, oh, it has an amber. This is an amber shellac. It's not a clear shellac. All right, that explains it. So we got an amber hue on my aged oak finish. All right. I'm going to chalk this up as an error, but we're going to see how it goes. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for him. And I sprayed a whole mess of this on the floor over here. I made a mess. Great. So what you're supposed to do is wipe it in, wipe off the excess, sand it down, and then do it again. It's already getting tacky. I can feel its stickiness. Because that's what happens. It gets kind of sticky like glue. And then it sets up with this hard shell surface finish. Which is why it's called shellac. Because it sets up with this shell finish. Give it a little bit more on here. I kind of like that. The amber hue gives it is a nice little touch. It really makes the oh, it's making the grain seriously pop. Very cool. All right. I'll let this dry for a second. Get my clean rag here and wipe it down. This is also something that I have never, ever, 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 ever done before. We're just going to see how it goes. Yeah, it's getting sticky. All right, so I'm going to let that sit for another minute or two, then hit it with the we all know the court about to appoint Trump Supreme Ruler. Yeah, you know, I wouldn't put it past them, to be completely honest, but I don't think that's how it's going to shape out. I think they're trying to stall. I don't think they want the. I don't think the court wants the courts to decide the election. And if the courts make a ruling this close to the election in any way, shape, or form, I think what they want to do is they want to stall the court case until the election happens, to the point where the court decision will be moot, and they won't have to worry about, it won't be their fault if he loses. The court decision will just be, it'll be whatever it is, and at that point, and I think in at least some people's fantasy, in some people's fantasy world, he loses the election, and then the court cases just poof get dismissed and go away forever. Or he takes a plea deal and he says, "Okay, I'll stay out of politics," and then they don't have to make a ruling, and he avoids jail. He doesn't go to jail, and he stays out of elections forever and ever, like they did with what's his face, Spiro Agnew. The difference is Spiro Agnew was still early in his political career, and could have continued in politics. Trump is likely at the end of his political career and isn't going to continue in politics anyway. So that's like me saying, okay, I'll plead guilty and agree not to run in the Olympics. And then the court saying, well, you weren't planning on running the Olympics anyway, dude. You're irrelevant in the Olympics. Like, nobody gives a shit if you run in the Olympics. You're not going to, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't see a scenario anymore. Like 2 years ago, I could see that as being a scenario where he says, I'll stay out of politics if you keep me out of jail. But that also would have required pleading guilty, admitting guilt, and all that other stuff, and unlikely event. But I could see the Department of Justice accepting that plea deal because they would actually be getting something out of it, as opposed to, literally getting nothing. You're not going to jail, and you're going to do the thing you were going to do anyway, which is stay out of politics. All right, so there's a bunch of high spots around here that I'm just wiping off. The rest of it is pretty much patchy, but solid. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the sander and smooth it out, take off a layer. I'm not putting a tremendous amount of pressure on the sander here, but the shellac is also still pretty gummy. I'm getting the sandpaper's getting a little gummed up. And the stuff isn't exactly coming out. Let me try wiping it down one more time because it feels like, looks like, everything has stayed on the surface. And I may have fucked up my surface. Because that is not smooth at all. All right. Let me try again with a fresh thing of sandpaper. What you got to say there? He appointed 3 of them and a 4th. Yeah, Thomas. He does whatever his benefactor tells him to do. And his wife, oh my God, his wife. There we go. Whoops. Yeah, I can't use this shellac, I don't think. All right. Well, we're back to smooth again. Back to smooth. Let me hit it one more time with this shellac and see what happens. Kind of wish I had a clear shellac, to be honest. but the amber will do. I told my son if we needed to sneak his girlfriend into the prom, we could do it. And I started listing off a whole bunch of stuff. 3 British bulldogs, a couple of alpacas, bikini models. All right. I need 1 bikini model for the heist, and then another one to distract your mother. And then I need a Filipino pool boy to keep your mother occupied, just in case the bikini model can't keep her distracted. I need brown mustard, brown spicy mustard, not that yellow crap. All right, this is coming along. This is coming along. Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Okay, so the sanding had a little added benefit of taking some of the oak finish, the dark oak, aged oak, barrel oak finish off and exposing some of the wood down below. So I'm getting a nice mixture here of amber wood grain and aged oak wood grain between the two. So my mistake looks like it's going to turn out pretty okay. In the end, I think. If I can smooth this out, because it's supposed to give it a nice crispy finish, like glass. If it dries smooth, if it applies and dries smoothly. And I'm seeing, if I keep the lines out, I'm seeing a nice finish coming along already. I feel like I'm rushing, but I'm not working particularly fast. I'm working at a steady pace that seems to be, it feels good. And it looks good. There we go. Yeah, I don't know if I like the amber. I don't know if I like it at all. I thought I did, but now the more I'm seeing it, the more I don't like it. The less I like it. I may have to sand this whole thing off and start over. All right, we'll let it sit for a little while and see how I like it. I'm just looking at the top, and now the top does not look like the bottom. The top has this kind of a greenish gray to it. The bottom is gray. Not sure I like it. But it's done for now. So I'm going to let it be. Oh, fucker. I'm going to let it be. And then come back to it in a couple hours and see if I like it. And if I like it, then I'll leave it. If I don't, just splashed shellac on me. Ugh. Yeah. Shellac in my arm hairs. Yeah. All right. What we got over here? Let it dry. You'll hate it. Sand it up. No, she got a ticket. That's the thing. His little girlfriend has a ticket. He bought tickets. It's just she doesn't have her ID. She goes to a different school. You haven't heard of her. She goes to a different school. Up in Canada. But there. Excess comes off. Wiping off the excess. Gonna let it dry. I don't like it. I hate it. It looks like a mess. It has this greenish. Well, if it dries, maybe it'll be more clear. I don't know. We'll see. But it goes outside. I'll let it go outside. Let it get weathered and rained on a little bit. Maybe I need to just take the shellac off entirely. Restain it with a barrel stain. Maybe get a clear shellac. Go back to go back to Ace and get the clear shellac. Anyway, she has a ticket. He bought 2 tickets. They just sent out an announcement today saying you need to have your ID and name match the ticket. If your ID and name do not match the ticket, you may not be allowed in. And he's freaking out because, she goes to a different school. And she's down here 5 hours down from 5 hours down from Sherman, Texas, just outside of Dallas. And of course, because she's a dum-dum, just like every other kid, she didn't bring her ID. So she's down here without ID of any sort. But she's also homeschooled, so she doesn't have like a school ID, and she doesn't have a learner's permit. So she's like down here without any form of ID whatsoever. All right, so here's another possibility. Here's another possibility. I might just do min wax. This is a natural finish wax. So I'll let this dry off. I don't like it. Right now, as of right now, I don't like it. So I'll let it dry. Maybe it'll get more clear as it dries. But I don't like the mixture of amber and aged oak at all. But now I need to get the tasting room like situated and organized. I bought a mop guys. I bought a whole mop, but I can't use the mop yet until I caulk the baseboards of the walls because I don't want water getting underneath the baseboards and going up the drywall. So I can't mop the floors yet and get all this powdery residue and nastiness off the floors. Nah. But I've got a freaking venue. The tasting room looks like a whole vibe. It's a whole damn thing in here. It's a little bit warm right now. We don't have our AC installed, but there's plenty of space to go outside and cool down if you need to go outside and cool down. We got a whole thing going on. It's pretty cool. You want to, well, let's see if I can, I don't know if I can move my computer to be able to get this done, to be able to see it. Because if I unplug from the internet, we're going to lose our internet feed. It doesn't look too bad on camera. No, she's down here with her parents. She's down here with her mom and dad. She, like I said, she doesn't have an ID, her own ID, because she doesn't drive yet. She does not, kids these days are not getting their licenses as quickly as we did. Like when we were kids, well, I mean, when we were 16 and 0 minutes old, we were at the DMV getting our damn driver's license. You know what I mean? But my son has shown zero interest in driving. He's shown a little bit of interest, but for the most part, he has shown hardly any. You know, he's perfect. He works close to home, so he can literally walk to work. He's fine taking the bus to school. His outside hobby, he doesn't have any outside hobbies. He works on his computer. He does schoolwork. He I mean, he has outside hobbies, but it's like gaming and streaming on Twitch. That's what he does. So he doesn't really have to drive anywhere. He can take his, he can go to work, he can walk to work, or take his bike if he really wants to. But he usually just walks to work. He's shown no interest in driving. And his little girlfriend has no interest in driving either. But his girlfriend is 5 hours away. If my girlfriend was 5 hours away, I sure as hell would show an interest in driving. But you see how the top has this kind of greenish hue to it, and the bottom is that just plain old aged wood. I want the top to be the same color as the bottom. I don't like that. I don't like that greenish hue. I don't like it. I don't like that greenish hue at all. Yeah, I don't like that. It's not just the lights. It's not just the lights in the shop. It's the actual color. All right, I've got to go to the store and get a different kind of shellac. Sand this shit off in an hour, and when it dries and sets up, refinish it. It does kind of match the barrel behind it, yeah, but that barrel has a different purpose. That's going to have a different purpose. I don't know what it is yet, but it has a different purpose. And I do have I had 4 barrels out here, 2 on this side of the door and 2 on that side of the door. And that one, the far one over there, the other day, a guy came and took it and like 5 pallets and threw them across the river, and then came back the next night and stole them, took them away, all the way away. Like that was my barrel, man. Dickhead. Ugh. So, I mean, I've got more, but still, you know, that was my barrel. I was using that thing for decades. And I've kind of cruised around this neighborhood back here, and we have some bona fide, honest to goodness, like encampments back there. It's very weird, very creepy. Like, you know, like some Robinson Crusoe type of stuff. There's this one dude who's literally got the entryway to his property is like a bunch of bushes and a string with a board that says welcome on it in between the bushes, and you like have to go through this hedge of bushes to get back there, and that's where they take your skin off. And feed it to their dogs. Because, you know, you're not using it, the dogs can eat it. The dogs need to eat your skin. But I guess it makes sense. If you're going to steal it, you walk up, pick them up, throw them across the river, then come back a couple days later in your truck and load them up into the truck. You know, that way your truck doesn't get on camera. And you can have the plausible deniability if anybody comes and sees you taking it out. Say, I didn't have any idea, I just saw them here on the river. Like, yeah, you dickhead, you put them there. You're not fooling me. I know. We have you on camera. You dickhead. All right. But the thing I like about that barrel in particular is it and the two others that are out here have aged and weathered, and they're that gray wood. They're that gray wood color. And I like that gray wood color. But this one here has rivets already holding these staves in. So it can already go out there to its display place. So it goes now to the displays. But I use these things, you know, as tabletops and blocks, you know, for holding stuff on. I use them for all kinds of stuff, not just barrels, not just looking pretty. They're functional and decorative. They're good little things to have. Which I guess is why that dickhead tried to steal, well, successfully stole my barrel and the pallets. Useful things to have. All right. What's next, kids? What do we got questions about? Kind of matches the barrel behind, because that's the color barrel will have over time aging. Well, this is the color the barrel has over time aging. That's just what it looks like outdoors. And this was what it looked like before I put that amber hue on there. I can still see some of it poking through, but that amber looks like shit. That amber is just terrible. It has to go. So as soon as it dries, if I still don't like it, I'll take it off and replace it with, I'll refinish it, replace it with a clear shellac, a clear seal, and then that'll be fine. And that'll be just fine. For what it's worth, I am 26 subscribers away from my goal. So no, 23 subscribers. 23? 33 subscribers away from my goal for the month. I'm very close to being on target for my page goals. I had 2 goals set for this year. One realistic goal of 4,000 subscribers, which looks like I'm going to make it fairly easy. I'm at 3,400 subscribers now. I can get 600 by the end of the year. Pretty easy. The short strategy is working well. With the ultimate goal of returning to doing some short form essays, how to make, how to do, how to build, stuff like that. Cocktail recipes. I've got a great recipe that I learned this weekend at the Texas Whiskey Fest that we're going to actually be showcasing this weekend at our party. Fat washed bourbon. So fat washed bourbon is exactly what it sounds like. You take a fat like butter. You take a fat like butter or bacon fat or steak fat or margarine or anything like that. You melt it, about a half a stick of butter, 4 ounces, about 4 ounces of fat per 750 milliliters of bourbon. You melt it until it gets that nice aroma, that nice nutty aroma. And then you add it to your whiskey. Shake it up so that it infuses together. Shake it up so that it infuses together. And then let it sit for a few minutes so that it cools down. And then put it in the refrigerator overnight so that fat thickens up. The loose particles that didn't adhere to the whiskey they thicken up and float to the top. And then you strain it out. And now now you've got a fat infused whiskey, whether it's steak or bourbon, steak or bacon or ham or whatever fat you used, butter. What it gives you is this rich, buttery, nutty flavor that adds flavor to your old fashions or whatever cocktails you're making. So this weekend, we're going to be able to have fat washed old fashions, fat washed bourbon old fashions. Ugh. Damn, this is a heavy one. So I'm super duper excited about that. Because that's something brand new, experimental, that I've never done before, that has all kinds of cool flavor profiles and cool flavor potential. We're also going to do a lemon julep for Miss Mary Poppins, who will be popping in to visit the distillery this weekend. Something that I am super excited about because I absolutely love Mary Poppins. She is the best. My Disney princess story is that when I was at Disney, last time we went to Disney World, Mary Poppins smiled at me and blew me a kiss, and I was over the freaking moon. And I was telling the story to somebody, and they were like, "How old were you?" I'm like, "I was like 36." I was a grown ass man. And that's when it kind of gets quiet and awkward, and they change the subject. It's kind of funny. I go, "Oh, okay, you're weird." But I mean, come on. She's Mary Poppins. She is, of all the Disney princesses, she's the one who's like a real person. You know, Cinderella, Snow White, whatever. They're fairy tale dingalings, whatever. Mary Poppins, she was A nanny that just showed up and took care of the kids. Yo, cheers, Steve. What an interesting drink. 4 ounce per bottle. That tastes good. Well, the one I had at the Texas Whiskey Fest tasted really good. So I made a double batch, and I'll out of a couple of surplus bottles of bourbon that I had, and I'll decide tonight if it tasted good. If it tastes, still tastes good. I used unsalted butter, proper unsalted butter. I can't load that bar up with junk because I'm going to use that bar tonight. I used proper unsalted butter. I used premium Boomtown bourbon. I used, I let it sit overnight, and we'll, I mean, it's a simple process of fat washing a bourbon. And I agree with you. There, Dustin, bacon vodka sounds like flaming ass. I don't think I want to even try that. I don't want to entertain the idea that that exists in real life because it sounds just fucking awful. The next project I have is my sign. I'm going to go buy some 4x4s. Oh, this is the thing I'm going to do. I'm going to buy 4x4s and I'm going to join them in a lap joint. Something I've never done before. Join 4x4s in a lap joint. Put a base on it, and then hang my sign around the top. So it's going to be 2 6-foot 4x4s that I need. 3 6-foot long 4x4s cut down to 4x4, 4 foot by 4 foot size because that's how tall that's how long my signs are. There's 4 feet, I believe. Pretty sure they're 48 inches. Yeah, my signs are 48 inches by 48 inches. So I'm going to get the 6-foot 4x4s, cut them down, put in a lap joint, lag bolts to secure it, and then build a base and put them out on the street. So the top one will be 4 feet wide, or the top one will be 4 feet long. The 2 sides will be 6 feet tall. And then I'll put a 2x4 spanner at the bottom, or a 4x4 spanner at the bottom so that they can latch onto the 4x4 on bottom, which means I guess I have to do a lap joint on bottom too. Oh, shoot, I don't know how to do that. I know how to do it at the end, but I don't know how to do it in the middle. Well, I'll figure it out. How hard can it be, right? Famous last words of a dumbass. And then put it on the base that's, 2x4 with the triangle feet. 4 foot 2x4 and 2 45-degree angles to hold them up. Drill everything together. And then bring it down to the road. Something that heavy shouldn't fly over in the wind, but I can put a couple of sandbags on it to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, so that's going to be this evening's project after my bartender shows up. It's dry. I hate it. Okay. Let's go over here to the whatchamacallit. To the other screen. We'll go picture in picture on this. Doot 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 ba doot boom bong. All right, so there's the project there on the side. All right, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, I'm going to call it a wrap. Where are we? How far in are we? Hour and a half? That's a good enough length for a quick little behind the scenes. I need to work in the next room and clean up the tasting room, get everything kind of organized for guests tonight. And then when my bartender gets here, I'm going to bounce and go do, he'll be here in about 20 minutes probably. then I will bounce and go to what are we open tonight? 4 to 9. Yeah, then I got to bounce and go to Ace to pick up the clear shellac so that I can fix that. But I may just go to Home Depot and get the lumber that I need along with the shellac. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Home Depot, get the lumber and shellac. This is my third trip to a hardware store today, and my third hardware store that I'll be visiting. Because the first one was Ace, the second one was Lowe's, and now I'm going to. Did I go to Lowe's today? No, I went to Lowe's last night. Went to Lowe's last night, Ace today, and I'm going to go to Home Depot later on today to get the lumber because Home Depot just has better lumber prices. Anywho, I wish I could do it with these pallets, but these pallets are heavier than you think. They're free, but they're heavy. And I don't want to set up a sign on a pallet that's super duper heavy that's just going to fall over and ruin my sign. You know what I mean? Yeah, you should. How was the festival in Austin? The festival was freaking awesome. The festival was amazing. It always is amazing. It rained, so everything was moved indoors. So it was loud. It was super loud. It wasn't as quiet, as easy to talk to people as it had been in the past. But, you know, I go with a personal stash of whiskey to make it easy so that I can sell whiskey. And we didn't win a medal for People's Choice or Best Distillery or anything like that. But people loved my whiskey and they bought my whiskey. So that's the only endorsement that I really need when it comes to prizes and shit like that. I want to win prizes. Don't get me wrong. I love trophies. I love trophies and belt buckles and prizes and plaudits and all that crap. And if I don't win them, I make them up. Because I mean, really, who are the authorities that give out the prizes other than just people who made up a prize? Um, but people were buying my whiskey, which was the thing that validates what you do, right? I mean, you can say I like it, but if you're not willing to shell over $30 or $100 or however much I have for a bottle, however much you want to shell over for the bottles of whiskey that I have, then it's good whiskey, but it's not good enough to buy. If it's good enough to buy, then it's good whiskey. It is absolutely good whiskey, and that's the endorsement that I like to get from people, and it kind of validates everything that we do. But it was a ton of fun. It was a ton of fun. Star Hill Ranch is a beautiful venue. Austin's a gorgeous city. Uh, I always travel up there for this with my lovely wife. She comes with me. She right hands me at the table. She's pouring whiskey, and when I'm pouring whiskey, she's pitching my whiskey. So she learns my pitch. She learns my pitch in the first like 30 minutes because I say it like 50 times. This is our straight whiskey, 90% corn, 10% malted barley, aged 5 years in used bourbon barrels. Next to it is our special reserve, which is what happens when we take our straight whiskey. We put it in our back in new barrels and give it a little bit more time with the new wood, gives it a darker color and a deeper finish. Next to that is our Boomtown bourbon, a little bit more rye than the other two, a traditional tri-grain bourbon, a true Texas original, craft made in every sense of the word. And next to that is our double oak rye, 95% rye, aged with extra oak staves in the barrel to give it the equivalent of about 7.5 years in the wood. And finally, next to that, this little baby barrel is our Black Cat Reserve cast strength whiskey, the first ever cast strength offering that we did. I only made 120 bottles of this, and we're down to about 100 bottles now. It's only available at the distillery and here today at the Texas Whiskey Festival, along with these other bottles here. If you want to get a bottle, we're available. Just come back to us at the end of the show, and anything we have, we're happy to sell it. And a lot of times that's where they'll go, how much? $30 for this, and that's 30, 35, 40, 45. And they'll go, I'll take one of those, one of those. That's awesome. Fantastic, dude. Hook them up. And I can do that because I can transfer my inventory from the distillery to my personal stock, and I can sell my personal stock at that point and reimburse the distillery for marketing for their marketing expenses. It's a bookkeeping a bookkeeping do-si-do that keeps it legal, mostly. So anyway, yeah, it was a fun time. It was a fun party. The Whiskey Fest is always a fun party, and for the first time in like 7 years, it rained. Uh, and I think that's because we traded a nice day of weather, a relatively nice day of weather, for uh, for rain on the Whiskey Fest. And I was okay with that because I wanted to see the eclipse. I was willing to trade a nice day of weather on the eclipse for a little bit of rain at the Whiskey Fest because it really was a fun fest, even inside. Uh, the temperature was nice, the weather was nice, inside, indoors, it's always nice. So anyway, how that's done, transfer. It's a transfer on paper from inventory to marketing, and then we pay the tax on the whiskey. It gets transferred that way for marketing, and then when we're done, I can transfer it back. Uh, I can transfer it back and then reimburse the distillery for however much. Because I usually sell at a little bit of a discount for festival price, like 10% discount at festival pricing. Um, So that's how it's done. It's accounting. You got to know how to do it on the QuickBooks and in accounting and stuff like that. So any hoodles. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. I've got some work I got to get done. I'm gonna do it off camera. Uh, the concert series tomorrow, the series of 7 performers that we have, starting at 2 and going till 10, will very likely be aired live on our channel for members only. So if you want to see that show, get a membership, $2 a month, because that helps pay for the bands. That is all. Talk to y'all later. Cheers and good night.